What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So we're jumping in with some more First Descendant content. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Every bit of you guys supporting the channel really helps me bring you guys continued coverage of this game and other games as well, and I really appreciate all the support. Let's get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, guys. All right, without further ado, let's jump right on in and take a look at what is probably likely to be the final in the build series for the AJAX main, and specifically looking at the character for what I think is probably the best usage of the character, which is support type DPS or support type control. And in order to do that, we have to build into two specific skills, in my opinion, and that is the Hypercube and the Orbit barrier. Both of these skills scale off of AJAX's defense the most. So if I was to look at Orbit barrier specifically, you can see here it scales off of 100% of his defense and 80% of his HP. When I cast Hypercube, it scales off of 50% of his HP and 100% of his defense. So obviously having more defense is going to be of value specifically. Now I want to give a shout out to Ace MBD, who was in the build for 101 for AJAX, where I was able to show you guys how to get him over 100,000 in terms of defense. And this is his build that he currently gave to me in terms of his suggested mod slots. So you can see here we're using stem accelerant. Some of you guys were a little bit overzealous about having me use stem accelerant. I'm going to tell you right now, inside my build, I'm still using HP amplification. You'll see the differences here in a moment. So here we've got stem accelerant, overwhelming HP, nimble fingers, defense stance, increased shield, increased defense, time distribution, weighing the scales, increased HP, and iron will. Central to any AJAX build, I think at this point, from now that I've maxed out the character pretty much, is going to be overwhelming HP and iron will. You want these no matter what you're doing. Whatever build you're building towards, you need these two mods, overwhelming HP and an iron will. Max those things out, get them equipped to him as soon as possible so you can roll on. Central to every Descendant, I think, is going to be increased defense, increased HP, and probably increased shield now that I've played with it a little bit as well, but we'll have to see. I think it works better because we get to scale because of the overwhelming HP with AJAX, and we get a little bit of scaling for our HP off of this increased shield. So you might not need this with every character, but let's take a look deeper into what we're essentially doing here. So notice our applied value stats over here. We got about 504, 505 max HP. We've got negative 15% of the max MP coming off stem accelerant, which is what I really didn't want because I wanted to have my MP available to cast my skills. We got 324.4% defense inside here. We got a 39.9% skill cooldown. We got 237% max shield. We got a reduction of 3.7 skill cost, and we've got a negative outgoing damage modifier of negative 7%, and that one is coming off of defense stance. So that's the build here. Now notice in the value section over here, we got about 100,000 raw defense when you're out in the world, and then we've got 32,576 max HP. Now you're only going to see these values when you actually step into the game world, so be aware of that. You're not going to see these values if you're sitting inside Albion and stuff like that. And we've got 158 MP. Great build. You can see the video. You won't be able to tell the difference from when I'm using AJAX in terms of this one versus when I'm using my AJAX build that I have. This is a really great build. It's going to allow you to tank a lot of content overall. Weapons are of your choice. I think Tamer, Enduring Legacy, those are like, bread and butter kind of, things at this point. External components, I would suggest that you probably go with a Bravery and Annihilation kind of setup. Get the 2-set effect from the 5.7% skill duration, and then also get the 2-set effect from HP recovery and max shield from the Bravery if you're able to clear that content. I haven't really got two Bravery ones that are really good, so I've just kind of been waiting for those to roll out. Now, looking at the difference between the one that was suggested by one of our fellow lords and then the one that I finally ended up using. Notice the difference here is HP amplification, agony, and then my use of weighing the scales over nimble fingers. So that was my chosen route to go inside here. Now, why did I go with HP amplification? When I use stim accelerant with this build, I noticed a serious reduction in my defense. How serious, you might ask? Well, let's take a look at that. Here you can see that my defense value raw inside of here in the open world is 119,000, so nearly 20,000 points higher than using stim accelerant. Taking off this and putting stim accelerant in will net me roughly probably about a 10 to 15,000 reduction in terms of defense, and it's only going to net me about 1,000 more HP. For the negative 15% MP that I was suffering, where I was basically down to 158 versus 202, it just was not of worth to me, so I kept the HP amplification going. Now, I did also forego the nimbling fingers because I wasn't really noticing any downtime in terms of when I needed to cast my bubble and my orbit barrier. So I just kind of left that one in there in terms of nimble fingers. And I kind of really liked the plus up on the MP and the defense value that Agony was giving to me. So I put that one in substitution as well. It worked out really better in terms of where I was innately going. Now, where this works out the most is that if I'm getting hit, and I'll show you guys this in a second, if I'm getting hit in combat, my build that I have here is going to allow me to top out at about 152,000 defense. Yes, I said that right. Whereas opposed to this, what I've noticed is that with the one by our fellow lord Ace MBD, I'm only able to get about 132,000 when that shield goes down. Now, that's really a matter of, like, you know, where you really feel about some of the diminishing returns, but that's essentially where I went with it. So I want you guys to see this, where I'm basically going to it. So here we are, and you see that 152,000 defense inside of there. I'm taking damage, and you know, to be honest with you, once you get that build going, you're not really happening most. So let's see if we can run back over here real quick, because you cannot change builds in the midst of combat. Got to be in a safe zone to do it. So you can see that 152,000 defense value in terms of change. So we'll switch over here to the Undying Beast. You notice that you can see the 100,000 over here, and you're going to notice that 20,000 point difference inside of this as well. So let's get over here back into combat and get somebody to hit us. And there you go. So you get about 130,000 defense basically is the difference there. Now, is that a major thing? To be perfectly honest, there's some diminishing returns that I don't think we fully contemplate and we fully understand quite yet for the first Descendant. I think people are still playing with those numbers, but I haven't noticed between the two builds too much of a difference in terms of my ability to tank simply on those defense. For me, it just means for me that I can essentially look at the numbers that I'm basically getting, and I know that I'm getting 152,000 instead of 130,000 that are contributing to my orbit barrier and my Hypercube, which means that while that hit happens and my shield is down for that one, I'm able to then cast my Hypercube and work off that 152,000. I believe, and this is not confirmed by me, I would need one of my fellow math lords to basically take a look at this and go into the numbers to see what is the difference and what is the scaling difference compared to HP amplification being used in stim accelerant, or the HP diminishing turns versus the defense diminishing turns. Here you can see with my build, I've got a 362.9% defense value inside of here. This build has 324%, so roughly 42% more. I think I did that numbers right. 42% more defense value inside of between the two builds, which is netting about 20,000. But notice that here we're getting a max HP at 504.9, where we're getting a max HP value of 598. It's not very much difference. You're literally talking about maybe 5% difference, and that's just the use of HP amplification. But if I remove this HP amplification and replace that with stim accelerant, you see a very noticeable decline in terms of the defense value that's raw inside of here. So I'll show you what that is, what that's going to look like when I do it inside this build specifically. So let's take a look at stim accelerant, and I'll swap that in for this build, and you can notice I'm now at that max HP value, 504, the same as the other build. It's pretty much no difference except for the nimbling fingers and the agony, and then the weighing the scales basically being in here. But as soon as you notice that I've dropped off by about 10 1,000 in terms of defense. So whether you want to use stim accelerant or whether you want to use this one, it's completely up to you. You notice that when I look at the build here, I'm like kind of in between the middle of those two, because I'm going to have 109 and I've got about 32,576 in terms of point. So it really is up to you. It's not making that great of a difference in terms of like, you know, overall values and just raw values that you're looking at, but it's a matter of what you look at. So for all of you guys who are so vigorously defending stim accelerant, go fly a kite. Like, you know, it's like, I hate to say it, but it just is what it is. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like I said, I think that, you know, AJAX is going to see his bread and butter in terms of being able to, you know, offer support control, not necessarily as a DPS type character crashing in. It takes his animation for his void walk has a really long time. His expulsion is really good, but his AoE is based around himself, which requires you to build into other mods like amplification control and skill expansion or skill extension. And I don't know that I'd necessarily see the benefits in that when I have other characters who are just simply better at doing those things. I'm not going to outpace a Bunny. I'm not going to outpace a Volby. I'm not going to outpace a Glay in terms of getting off skills like that. So it doesn't really seem for me worth it to build into those things unless I'm just playing for myself and running solo. So that's why I made the previous video where you guys seem to like that thumbnail. So for this one, this is my ultimate AJAX build, 150,000 plus defense. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys got in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, peace.